The moment my husband's nephew laid his hands on my back, a dangerous secret was planted, and I knew my already cold marriage was about to shatter into dust. Welcome back to Hidden Love Stories. Have you ever felt completely, utterly alone in your own home, right next to the person you once loved most? Today's story will take your breath away. Hit that subscribe button now because we're about to enter a maze of hidden desires and a betrayal so sweet, it's agonizing. For 12 years, my life with Alan was a quiet void until, for a few brief weeks, that silence shattered. He is gone, and silence reigns once more, yet it feels transformed. A silence hangs thick, burdened by a secret, a memory so fierce and perilous that I dread it will haunt me forever. I'm Anna. This is the tale of a simple act of kindness that spiraled into a quiet betrayal, unearthing a truth I had long buried. Before we journey to the start, to the deep silence of my existence, I urge you to pause and hit that subscribe button. Let's delve into the tangled truths of the human heart together. Every word of this story pulls you in, revealing how the most profound changes in life occur not with a roar, but with a soft, haunting whisper. With Alan, my life was a canvas of unwavering calm. He was a genius, crafting bridges meant to endure the fiercest tempests. He crafted our life with unwavering attention to detail. Our home in a quiet Denver suburb stood as a symbol of his triumph, solid, respectable, and flawlessly arranged. To the world, we were the ideal couple, the ones neighbors admired as a symbol of lasting love. Yet within those immaculate walls, a quiet decay began to fester. Alan was not devoid of kindness. He was utterly gone. His work devoured him. Even at home, his thoughts battled with load-bearing calculations and municipal codes. What once sparked with vibrant ideas and dreams now dwindled to mere logistics. Did you get the dry cleaning? Next month, the property taxes loom large. What's for dinner tonight? He turned away, his gaze lost to me. His gaze brushed past me, a fleeting acknowledgement, yet it never settled, never sought to uncover the person I had become. I faded into the shadows of my existence, a specter wandering through the haunting beauty of an empty home. What haunted me most was how easily I had come to accept it. I embraced my own invisibility, believing it was the cost of a stable, comfortable existence. A relentless ache in my lower back mirrored my turmoil, a silent witness to my inner struggle. A relentless ache pulsed, spreading a deep sorrow through every inch of me. Alan barely glanced up from his tablet when I brought it up. "Anna, you need to stretch more." His voice dripped with a hint of impatience. Only tension hangs in the air. To him, my suffering was merely a bother, an unwelcome plea, another request for the attention he had long since withdrawn. I was lost again, invisible, my voice swallowed by silence. One afternoon, I shared a coffee with Amanda, and everything changed. Amanda was my antithesis, a storm of chaotic, vivid existence. She was an art teacher, her life a whirlwind of teenage chaos and faculty tensions. "I swear, Anna," she said, stirring her latte fiercely, "if I hear one more story from Tom about his golf game, I might just lose it." His obsession is palpable, yet in a fleeting moment, he meets my gaze over the dinner table and smiles. In that instant, I'm reminded of the love that brought us together, her breath caught in a heavy sigh. "Is everything still blissfully serene between you and Alan?" I offered a fragile, rehearsed smile. "All is well, Amanda." I lied, the words choking me like dust. Alan is consumed by work, as ever. The truth eluded my lips. The emptiness consumed me, a haunting marriage to a ghost. Voicing it would shatter the fragile illusion. As she poured out her frustrations about a life drowning in noise and connection, an overwhelming loneliness settled in, heavy and suffocating against my chest. Into this stillness of despair stepped Alex. He was Alan's nephew, his sister's son, a 24-year-old who had relocated to Denver, chasing a fresh start. He was desperate for a temporary home as he searched for his own apartment. Alan had consented with his typical, distant kindness. He can stay in the guest room, no question. His gaze remained fixed on the blueprint. Ensure he understands the thermostat is off limits. Alex's arrival barely shook our routine at first, but the air crackled with unspoken tension. He was silent, courteous, and unnaturally reserved. As the days stretched into a week, I couldn't help but see the small details that sharply highlighted Alan's indifference. Alex hung on my every word, his deep, thoughtful brown eyes locked onto my face, revealing a raw, intense interest in my words. He'd take the grocery bags from the car, no request needed. He'd catch the flicker of annoyance or sadness on my face, his voice low and filled with concern. "Are you okay, Anna?" A question so simple, so essential, yet it had been years since my husband last asked it. He noticed me. Text, it began with innocence, a fleeting moment that would change everything. Sitting on the sofa after dinner, I struggled to read, the relentless ache in my back stealing my comfort away. I pressed into the ache, a sharp wince escaping me. Alan sat in his study, the door shut tight, a silent plea for solitude. Alex stepped into the room, water in hand, tension crackling in the air. He stopped, eyes locked on my hand, pressing into my back. "Is your back in pain?" he asked, his brow furrowed, a deep concern etched on his face. "Oh, it's nothing," I replied, a nervous laugh slipping out. A lingering ache from the past. He paused, heart racing. "Should I give it a shot and help you out?" He inquired, his charm laced with a hint of boyish timidity. My mom struggles with sciatica, and I discovered some things that brought her relief. I may not be a pro, but perhaps I can ease it just a bit. I wanted to say no, a reflex shaped by years of maintaining a careful distance. His earnest, kind face drew me in, and the throbbing in my back was met with a wave of weary resignation. "Okay," I whispered, "just for a moment." I turned, sinking into the sofa. He slipped behind me, his fingers digging into the tight, knotted muscles along my spine, igniting a rush of tension and release. The shock of it nearly took my breath away. He moved with a blend of caution, instinct, and exactness. His intense gaze, filled with kindness, bewildered me. After weeks of tension, a wave of true relaxation surged through me. I shut my eyes, feeling his hands weave their silent spell over the weight of my stress. His fingers danced with a fragile grace and a quiet power, a touch I had long forgotten in the realm of human connection. In that instant, everything felt right, every word perfectly aligned. A fleeting moment of compassion, the closeness, the intense focus on my body and my comfort. It was intimately, profoundly different. A subtle, dangerous electricity crackled in the air, impossible to ignore and utterly captivating. He paused, his voice soft. "Is this helping at all?" A quick, gasping nod was all I could muster. Fear gripped me, my voice threatening to betray the storm within. His touch sent shivers through my skin. My breath raced. I convinced myself it was merely a release, nothing deeper. Long after the makeshift massage ended, I lingered on the sofa, consumed by memories, his touch still igniting warmth on my skin. As Alan faced away from me in bed, the chasm between us felt insurmountable, my thoughts consumed by the haunting memory of Alex's hands. It was a fleeting thought, innocent for now. It stirred a deep longing, a tender touch I had desperately craved. A surge of guilt crashed through me. But when I saw Alex the next morning, his gaze felt different, charged with unspoken weight, a sudden realization. Perhaps it was merely a glimpse of my own truth. I knew without needing to say a word. A few nights later, I found myself in the living room once more, the familiar ache gnawing at my insides, leaving me uneasy. Alex was lost in his phone, oblivious to everything around him. He glanced up, a subtle, knowing smile playing on his lips. "It was a brutal day," he said. I simply nodded. Silence lingered for moments, then he rose, positioning himself behind my armchair. With the same quiet shyness as before, he asked, "Want me to try again?" Regret clawed at me. I should have just said no. I realized I had to end this growing, indescribable closeness. The words choked me, trapped by a yearning, aching solitude within. I tilted my head back, a quiet agreement hanging in the air. He started gently, his hands on my shoulders, fingers probing the tightness within. This time, it was different. His touch held a confident familiarity, igniting a spark within. His fingers delved deeper, uncovering tensions I never realized existed. It had lost its soothing touch, becoming merely a means to escape the agony. His touch held a personal intensity, a focused, deliberate attention that pierced through the air. I shut my eyes, surrendering to his touch. As his fingers traced slow circles on my skin, a heat surged from within, shattering my illusions of innocence. His hands glided from my shoulders to my neck, thumbs pressing softly at the base of my skull. A sudden, electric shiver coursed through me, my breath caught. He kept going. I kept my eyes shut, sensing his hands pause, a weight of contemplation hanging in the air. He leaned in, his voice a low whisper by my ear, words that would echo in my mind for days. "You are worth far more than this." My heart pounded violently, a fierce ache against my ribs. I stayed silent. I just couldn't. I longed to shout that he was mistaken, that my life was perfectly fine. Yet the reality was, all of it was a lie. He spoke, his voice a fragile whisper. "You seem burdened, as if a heavy load rests on your shoulders, one you shouldn't bear." His words struck me, a young man barely acquainted with my life. Yet in that moment, I felt exposed, seen in a way that was both exhilarating and frightening. I shot up, severing the connection. "Thank you!" I rushed out, my voice strained with an unshakable anxiety. "Tonight ends here." He leaned back, lost in thought. He said nothing, yet his gaze lingered, heavy and unspoken, as I hurriedly escaped the room. That night, sleep eluded me completely. His words haunted me. "You are worthy of so much more." Those words from Alan were unlike anything I'd ever heard before. It wasn't merely his words, but the unwavering certainty behind them that struck deep. He seemed to believe it, to really see me. The deeper I delved, the clearer it became. I had been achingly, irrevocably alone for far too long. Despite knowing it was wrong, I was irresistibly drawn to Alex, a force beyond reason. It was more than youth, more than the taboo that bound them. For the first time in 10 years, I felt alive, and I refused to let that feeling slip away. What happens when a gesture of goodwill becomes a haunting desire? When does comfort slip into perilous closeness? Why does a good person, someone who thinks they know themselves, end up on such dangerous terrain? I want to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments. If this resonates with you, show your support by hitting that like button. It all unfolded on a Tuesday. That morning, Alan's eyes were fixed on his phone as he told me he had a client dinner that night and would be home late. I nodded, masking my true feelings, but inside, my thoughts raced with the thrilling possibilities this sudden absence presented. I promised myself it would all stay the same. I chanted it endlessly, a frantic plea for calm. Alex returned home, the weight of the day heavy on his shoulders. I stood in the kitchen, feigning interest in a cookbook. "What's your heart saying?" he asked, his voice a whisper. My back ached still, a lingering reminder of pain. I spoke a half-truth. The physical pain stung, yet it was nothing compared to the profound emotional torment I bore within. He lingered in the silence, a palpable tension hanging in the air, before he finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "Should I give it another shot?" Our eyes met, and in that moment, everything was revealed. I sank into my familiar place on the sofa. He started as he always did, slow and deliberate, but this time he moved without a trace of doubt. His hands danced with newfound certainty, as if they were invincible. He brushed a stray strand of hair from my face, his fingers lingering on my temple. His hands descended, lingering, tracing every contour of my back with a fierce, consuming intensity. I allowed him to go on. The air was thick, heavy with unspoken truths, a weight that pressed down on everyone present. His breath quickened, brushing against my ear. My pulse thundered in my throat, and then he froze. I glanced at him. Silence enveloped him. I didn't either. We stood on the brink of the unknown, breath held, hearts racing. In that moment, an unseen bond shattered. I crossed the line. Our lips met, electric and urgent. It was a fleeting, uncertain touch, as if, in that last instant, a part of me lingered in doubt. His reply came swift, a wordless agreement. The second kiss lingered, a profound dive into a long-buried longing. From that moment on, we lost track. In an instant, desire erupted, consuming all else in its fiery wake. My fingers wove through his soft hair. His arms encircled me, drawing me in until we were one, no distance remaining. What followed seemed destined, our bodies moving along a path our lonely souls had already embraced. His touch lingered, gentle and deliberate, as if he had been yearning for this moment, determined to get it just right. Every cell in my skin ignited, alive with sensation. A distant scream echoed in my mind, urging me to stop this madness, yet my treacherous, starving body overpowered it all. When it ended, we stood still, the silence pierced only by our uneven breaths, intertwined in the aftermath. His gaze pierced through me, probing for guilt or regret, desperate for a glimpse of my inner turmoil. His eyes were too much to bear. A storm of emotions crashed within me: shame, relief, guilt, a forbidden thrill, heat and cold intertwining in a chaotic blur. Shame washed over me for my actions. In that raw, honest moment, regret vanished. Not now. I rose in silence. He didn't either. We withdrew to our separate rooms. Two strangers after sharing something too immense and unfathomable to grasp. For the first time in ages, I felt whole. Guilt consumed me undeniably, yet I felt it deeply. The next morning, an icy chill enveloped the house. Before dawn, I sat alone in the kitchen, clutching a steaming cup of coffee. My hands shook against my will. Every detail of the previous night looped in my mind, not by choice, but by an unyielding force. Alex remained locked away, the hours slipping by until the sun began to set. He averted his eyes, grabbed a glass of water, and whispered something about leaving. He claimed he needed a few days at a friend's place just to find the space to finish his project. I lingered in the stillness. I stayed silent. I was wrong. He vanished in just an hour. Silence lingers. Silence speaks volumes. Only emptiness remains. Alan returned that night, masking the storm within. He overlooked the shake in my hands and the emptiness in my gaze. Maybe he knew, but chose indifference instead. The days dragged on, heavy and suffocating. I held my breath, hoping for a message from Alex that would change everything. It never arrived. I scoured his social media, a heart racing like a lovesick teen, staring at photos of him laughing with friends, oblivious to the storm inside me. What haunted me was not the act, but the truth it unveiled. My desperate need for connection had twisted something so wrong into a feeling so achingly right. Alex vanished from the house, leaving an aching void behind. A week later, his key lay abandoned on the entry table. No message. Silence speaks volumes, only the key, a quiet, haunting goodbye. I can't tell if I ever truly loved him. I can't tell if I did or didn't. Since then, everything has changed. Nothing feels the same. That night shattered something deep within me, more than mere promises. It's more than my husband's trust. A vital piece of me shattered, and I fear it can never be whole again. I don't even know if I want to anymore. The adventure concluded, leaving a sharp sting and an aching void within. The brief spark of life faded, exposing the harsh truth of my marriage and the vulnerability of my beliefs. In the stillness that followed the chaos, one truth remained. Everything had changed forever. Can a blunder spark a revelation? Can a misguided decision unveil the harsh, yet necessary truths of your existence? Share your thoughts with me. This is a sanctuary free from judgment. Our quest is pure, to grasp the depths of understanding. Join us for tales that delve into the tangled emotions of the heart. If you've ever felt invisible, show some love for this video. Your presence means everything.